morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. As you know, trash in Los Angeles is horrific. It's pretty bad in every neighborhood. And Councilmember De Leon wants to put a stop to that. So we're here today to announce his plan to address illegal dumping throughout the city of Los Angeles. And I'd like to introduce the council member for the 14th District, Councilmember Kevin De Leon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Here, Gary. I got it. Please take it off. Take it off. Thank you very much. Good morning to each and every one of you. Muy buenos días. Annyeonghaseyo. I want to thank you very much for coming out this morning. Listen, illegal dumping is a major problem in the city of Los Angeles, and more importantly, for the residents of the great city of Los Angeles who have to contend with this on a daily basis. Every day, communities across the city wake up to mounds of trash, piles of construction materials, and heaps of discarded furniture and trash piles in their own neighborhoods. However, illegal dumping isn't spread equally across our great city of Los Angeles, or even individual streets within a neighborhood. The trash that you see behind me isn't something that you'll see, quite frankly, in wealthier communities in Los Angeles. And for years, people who illegally dump have preyed on communities that lack the resources to fight back against this dumping. In neighborhoods such as Boyle Heights and right here in downtown Los Angeles, families walk their children to school and have to step through all this trash or have to walk around all of this trash every single day. And let's be clear, homelessness is not the source of these organized dumps. There are individuals who are deliberately dumping trash, most likely to avoid the landfill fees. Of course, they use the unhoused community members to dump the trash. We know this for a fact because we have seen it. People see our communities, our streets, and our beautiful city as free and easy dumping grounds. Until now, the city of LA, we've been taking a very piecemeal approach to addressing the issue. Each year, we might add one or two crews in the city budget with the hopes that it's going to make a dent on this issue. But the reality is that our streets are not getting better. They're not getting cleaner. And let me be very clear. This isn't because of lack of dedicated staff and their efforts here. It's because we're not measuring ourselves based on outcomes and allocating resources to meet those targets. If any targets are even established in the city of LA for trash picking or for dumping, period. That's why we need a better strategy for getting things done, and the reason I'm calling for a massive investment in how we tackle trash and illegal dumping in Los Angeles. Now, in just a short few hours, I'll introduce a series of motions as part of my Clean Streets campaign that aim to assess our existing resources, 2, identify how we can bolster those resources, and 3, determine the funding required to expand services that will fundamentally impact this problem. These motions are part of a first step, the first fundamental step that we need to do. Assess, identify, bolster, then determine and execute. This includes holding those responsible for legal dumping accountable for the blight that they create. Let me give you an example of what we're dealing with. The Bureau of Sanitation, headed by the incredible General Manager Barbara Romero, is responsible for identifying and investigating individuals and businesses who are engaged in trashing our city. But the problem is currently the Bureau of Sanitation has on average 6 staff members. 6 staff members who perform this duty for the entire city of Los Angeles, not for district, for example, CD14, or our neighbor to the south of us, CD9 in Current Price's district, but 6 crews on average who deal with this on a citywide basis. Over the last 2 calendar years, LA Sanitation, LASAN, has issued approximately 1,200 citations. Of the 1,200 citations, and has referred 39 cases to the city attorney for prosecution. But thousands have gone unreported as well. They frankly lack the staff human power. They're doing the best that they can. However, it's not enough to match the magnitude of the problem. The city should be aggressively looking at ways to stop the dumping, such as installing cameras and implementing environmental design techniques like better lighting or tree trimming. But we need more than enforcement. We need to expand the city staff to get the job done faster. And I want to commend the city workers from Local 721 and all of their unions for their tremendous work that they accomplish on a daily basis with very limited resources. Los Angeles Sanitation and Environment Community has nine two-person teams across the entire city of Los Angeles that respond to the cleanup of illegal dumping. In other words, when you call to report illegal dumping, at any given time, the city of LA only has 9 two-persons crew to respond to those illegal dumpings. Not for District 14 or any other district, but for the entire city of Los Angeles, 4 million plus. That's 15 council city districts. And by the way, it's the largest geographical city in the United States of America. We may have the second largest population next to New York City, but geographically, in terms of land mass, we are the largest in all of the United States of America. These crews are deployed out of 5 locations across the city on a daily basis. Many council districts, like my own, have allocated their own discretionary funds to pay for their own cleanup crews in order to help offset the sheer volume of trash in the city. In other words, I can be utilizing those discretionary funds for children of low economic means so they can receive tutoring after school that can prepare them to go on to college and have a better life for themselves and break that generation of poverty. But I have to utilize those discretionary funds to help offset the volume of trash that this city has on a daily basis because people continue to trash our beautiful city. While these teams do a great job of cleaning, it's not just sustainable. And frankly, it's emblematic of how we are losing the battle with trash and illegal dumping in Los Angeles. My strategy is intentional. Be very clear. Cleanup efforts should be coordinated. They're not, so that resources can be allocated efficiently. By adequately staffing the Bureau of Sanitation, we can systematically address the problem instead of depending on whether or not a given council member can find the funding necessary to clean neighborhoods in their district. Right now, we have a sort of a patchwork, if you will. And as we know, if you live in other parts of the city of LA, this is not really an issue at all whatsoever. You may have some minor issues, and some folks may make that minor issue, and they think it's a gargantuan issue, but it's nowhere near close to what we have here in downtown LA in neighborhoods like Boyle Heights, Pacoima, South LA, or elsewhere. By doing this, we can set a goal of cleaning up all illegal dumping within 48 hours. Within 48 hours of it being reported so that our city's not overwhelmed by trash. But this isn't just about the Bureau of Sanitation. In order to address trash, we need to have it removed as soon as it ends up on the street. And that's why we have our general manager here for Bureau of Street Services here, Keith Mosey, here with us here today. StreetsLA, as they're called, is responsible for sweeping streets all across the city. But not all that city gets swept. There are some areas, especially in commercial and industrial areas where we're at right now, that don't receive the sweeping they need for proper maintenance. I want to bring back nighttime sweeping in these areas so that we can address the trash issue quickly. As an Angelino, it pains me and it angers me to see how dirty our city has become. But we're never going to clean it up if we don't set high standards. But not just high standards, because high standards can be empty promises because it sounds good and it feels good. And it's good for headlines, if you will. But you got to couple high standards with the adequate allocated resources needed to reach those goals and to execute. Every neighborhood, whether it be Boyle Heights or Brentwood, whether it be Watts or West LA, West Hills or Pacoima or Pacific Palisades, is entitled to have the same level of cleanliness, and it's our job as elected officials to deliver on that. Clean Streets Now will help deliver us. So I want to thank each and every one of you. We got a couple folks who are going to come up, and then we can open up to some Q&A. So with that, let me bring up, do we have Barbara Romero in the house? Let's bring up our General Manager, LA Sanitation and Environment, Barbara Romero. Barbara, come on up.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, one important fact, in 2021, LSD responded to 29,828 illegal dumping service requests and collected 15,203 tons of solid waste. Citywide, as the council member mentioned, we have 9 dedicated teams, 2-persons team to address this citywide illegal dumping issue. We are now, we just started to address it proactively on the weekends. But but in order to meet the challenge that is at hand, we need additional resources to just address the non-reports, because we have improved our efficiency on responding to some of the illegal response, but not the unreported. So that's where the first thing has to be, is how do we address them, respond to them effectively and efficiently, and more strategically as a whole city, not just the Bureau of Sanitation. Secondly, how do we start educating people about, because for this location, we come out 3 times a week. So how do we make sure that we educate people about that this is illegal, and then how then do we enforce? As you have heard, that eradicate, educate, and enforce. So we are here to report back. We'll be here to report back on the motions and look at the lessons learned and look at it more comprehensively, how we can strategically approach this real issue that is at hand, that we all are seeing on a daily basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Next up, let's bring up our General Manager, Streets LA Bureau, Keith Mosey. Keith Mosey.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Council Member. StreetsLA will definitely be looking at the resources required to go back to nighttime and early morning sweeping. We'll also be looking at, the resources that we need, but also partnering with Bureau of Sanitation on how we can coordinate our efforts to clean these commercial corridors in a more efficient manner, to pick up more of this debris, to keep it out of the right-of-way, to keep it out of the street, and keep it out of our storm drains, to keep communities like this clean, which is very important. So we'll be reporting back with Bureau of Sanitation on how we accomplish this task and requesting more resources. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. And last, let's bring up one of our amazing business owners, a proud member of our Korean American community. Let's bring up Nancy Choi. Nancy Choi, come on up. You guys can both come on.
Oh, I'm not prepared for this, but thank you everyone for coming here. And I've owned a building around this neighborhood for past 20 years, and I've been in the business in downtown LA for 30 somewhat years. And it's very upsetting and disappointing to go ahead and see our neighborhood turn into this massive dump yard. And for our employees not to be able to walk around the neighborhood with the safety. I have many employees who walk to the bus station every day, but through this dumping yard trash, they really cannot do anything. They can't. So I feel for them, and I want to go ahead and support whatever I can do to go ahead and clean the community with help of street services, LA Sanitation Department, and I appreciate everything that you're doing for us, Councilman. And there you go. I really am not prepared, so thank you very much for having this conference to go ahead and send out the message to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy. 감사합니다. Pete, what do you want to do? We want to do a Q&A. Folks want to do individuals. What do you want to do? You want to do it en español? En español, muy buenos días. Habla su humilde servidor, Kevin de León, concejal del distrito número 14. Estamos aquí colectivamente para alzar nuestras voces en repudio de toda la basura que diariamente están tirando en nuestra comunidad, pero particularmente en los vecindarios más humildes, de muy bajos ingresos como de Boyle Heights. Estamos hartos y ya cansados que la gente siga tirando su basura en nuestras colonias, pero quiero enfatizar y subrayar lo siguiente, particularmente en las zonas más humildes, las zonas de muy bajos ingresos, donde el mayor número de los residentes, de los constituyentes, son latinos, son inmigrantes, nuestra gente trabajadora aquí en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Hoy día, en un par de horas, por la mañana, voy a presentar una serie de mociones políticas públicas ante el concilio de la ciudad de Los Ángeles para promover un presupuesto mucho más grande para recoger la basura día tras día aquí en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Lo que pasa en Los Ángeles, no existe un sistema concreto a lo largo y ancho de la ciudad de Los Ángeles, una población de más de 4 billones de personas, que quede muy claro, una ciudad de más de 4 millones de dólares y una ciudad mucho más grande geográficamente que la ciudad de Nueva York. Y nomás existe diariamente un equipo de 6 personas, no para recoger la basura en un solo distrito, sino para recoger la basura que se está tirando por las banquetas, por los callejones, a lo largo y ancho de la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Para mí eso es bastante absurdo y ridículo, y por eso necesitamos reenfocar nuestros recursos del presupuesto para enfocarnos en la basura, porque a mí personalmente esto para nosotros es un daño para nuestra salud pública y también nos deja una mancha de desgracia, una mancha que nuestra ciudad de Los Ángeles es como, es un dompe, al final de cuentas, para ser bien honesto y claro. Let me say that, just lastly, and I didn't mention a few moments ago, but by creating a system that works, we know illegal dumping is a problem. That's a fact because we see it visually. But the very fact that we don't really have a system in the city of LA, that we need more budget dollars, without a doubt, to execute, is going backwards as opposed to moving forward. Because when people trash our city, it leaves us with an indelible mark of shame. Nos deja con mucha vergüenza, para ser bien franco y honesto. Una mancha muy negra para nosotros. And the fact that people just come in from wherever, whether it's Angelenos themselves or folks who live outside the city of LA, who use our city streets as a dumping ground. We just come here, in the middle of the night and get out of town by sundown, and leave all of this, to Angelenos to deal with. Is simply not right. It's unfair, but we have to strike back if we want to clean up our city, to restore a sense of dignity and pride in all Angelenos. Again, doesn't make a difference. You live in Westchester or Watts, the Palisades or Pacoima, Brentwood or Bull Heights. Everyone deserves clean streets, safe streets, and we're going to set forward these motions in City Council today when we introduce it, so we can finally have a concentrated, coordinated effort to move forward within 48 hours, how we can identify with the report backs by our general managers and their excellent staff, so we can give our men and women who work tirelessly every single day the resources needed to keep our streets clean. With that, thank you very much to everybody. Thank you very much, everybody.